just want to share a little bit about my journey. Um, so, as you mentioned, my name is Matthew Farrow, and as you know, we're here to talk a little bit about cord blood, and I can say I know a little bit about that. Almost 30 years ago, I became the world's first cord blood transplant. Let's talk about why I needed a cord blood transplant and why it's so important to me. When I was born a pretty normal kid. I was 2 weeks late, wrinkly, and had an extra thumb. Normal. Things got a little weird when I was 2 years old. My mom said she got concerned when I started turning blue in the bathtub. So she took me to our family physician, who then instructed us to go to another hospital to have my blood tested. And then we went to another hospital. It wasn't until the age of 2.5 that I started to go to Duke University Medical Center, where they diagnosed me with having Fanconi's aplastic anemia. Fanconi anemia is a rare genetic disorder that interferes with DNA repair. Back then, most kids didn't live within the first decade of life without a bone marrow transplant. Unfortunately for me, I had no bone marrow match in my family and was already in bone marrow failure. My parents anticipated me not living past the age of 6 years old and decided to have another child to help ease the burden of their anticipated loss, and also to keep my older sister Jody from growing up alone. My mom got pregnant with my sister Allison, and in utero, they discovered that she did not carry the same disease I did, which was a very high risk. And they also found that she was a perfect 8. However, by the time she would be old enough, it might be too late. Meanwhile, research was being done on cord blood to cure diseases like mine. And Dr. Hal Broxmeyer and his research team wanted to use Allison's cord blood for my transplant and wanted to know if my parents would be willing to participate. In order for this experiment to take place, my parents would both have to leave their jobs. They would have to go to a foreign country, take 3 kids with them, not knowing if one was coming back alive. They were given less than 5% chance that this would work. After the information was given to my parents, my dad took me into the living room and said since it was my body, he wanted to know my opinion. They explained to me in the best way you can explain to a 5-year-old what was going to happen. They said we could wait to do this that has been known to save lives, but it may not be able to save you, or we can do an experiment. And they said, my answer was, I wanted to help other kids like myself. In February of 1988, Allison was born. Her cord blood was collected and was flown to Dr. Hal Broxmeyer, where he processed and cryopreserved it. And when Allison was only 6 months old, we flew to Paris, France. I was checked into the hospital where I received chemotherapy and total body radiation. On October 6, 1988, my little sister's cord blood was given to me, and hence giving me my second chance at life. "18 days later, my little sister's cells started to engraft, and then my transplant was considered a success. Because of the success of my cord blood transplant, I'm able to be here 30 years this past October. And I just spent, was it 10 days ago, I just turned 36. Now I get to celebrate many more years with my family thanks to cord blood. Something that all they knew was potentially helpful, and they did whatever they possibly could to save my life. Now I am a father of an adopted child who's 15. Oh my, I can't believe it, 15. He resembles me, even though he's not mine, but he is mine. And he is a grandson, along with my nephew and my niece, to my parents as well. My story is not the only successful cord blood story. I've met many, many families that have read about our story and have either donated their child's cord blood or kept it for their family. And I've met many families where they have kept it for themselves and have demanded their doctors bank their child's cord blood, and it saved their kid's life. I had a 10-minute awkward hug with a mom one time because of this very, very thing. And I also have a very good special friend of mine that carries the same disease that I have, that her bone marrow donor backed out 3 weeks before her transplant. But luckily, some mom donated, and a cord blood unit was quickly discovered, and she is now living healthy as well. So knowing the benefits of cord blood, I can't allow it just to be thrown away as medical waste. It truly saddens me that there are still people that do not know the importance of cord blood. So sharing my story and other stories like it to nurses, physicians, midwives helps me to help you to talk with individual families of the importance and a second chance that it can possibly bring. Thank you very much.